Hey guys, welcome back to Alliance Tournament 11, Day 4 here. I'm CCP Rise here with Back and Alien, and we're about to watch Shadow Cartel fight M.I.F. And we've been saying the word Tinker a lot today. You are about to see M.I.F. give it a real dedicated shot.
Yeah, this should be a lot of drones on both sides. We have triple Dominics and Navy Dummy from Shadow Cartel. Be curious to see what kind of volley they can put off there at the very beginning and see if they can take out that Loki. I don't have much faith they can, but that Loki is the linchpin of the M.I.F. setup, and if they don't break that, I'm not sure they're breaking anything else. So we shall see. Loki is an interesting choice. Why would you choose Loki over a Tengu in this setup?
I have
because
literally
it was
no
banned,
idea.
Because Shadow Cartel banned it.
Ah, there you go.
So the Shadow Cartel was trying to ban out Tinkers.
Wow.
Loki is a viable ship to use.
Most obvious reason possible,
Yeah,
right
there.
there.
And well, yeah.
Good, really strong bans for Shadow Cartel. I wonder why they knew. I wonder if they really didn't want to fight this, or if they knew they wanted to bring it, or if maybe they're bringing it because it seemed like Shadow Cartel really didn't want to fight it.
Well,
But anyway, Shadow Cartel, by the way, bringing the same setup more or less that they brought to their last match, triple Dummy and Navy Dummy, the highest DPS Dominix configuration possible, maybe.
Yeah, and I think Shadow Cartel thought, well, we want to bring our Dummy comp. Let's ban out the Tengu, which is a really strong Tinker, and see, maybe we don't get a Tinker and see what we can do with our comfortable Dummy setup. They didn't want to ban Dummies, so pick two other bans. And M.I.F. probably decided, you know what, I think we can counter Dummies with this Tinker, so let's give it a whirl.
A really interesting element in this match, M.I.F. has to be happy in a way that Shadow Cartel has no logistics.
Absolutely.
When you're running Tinker, fighting against no logistics team means that you're able to get away with having relatively low damage, which Tinker setups often do.
Now,
So that's
Shadow Cartel did make a smart decision. They have target painters on that Loki,
Yep.
so that is going to help the tracking on them. And if you see the E-War is not really...
Maulus going down.
Yep,
M.I.F.
Maulus now, first blood to M.I.F. So now basically Shadow Cartel in a position where they have to kill something. And the bright side of that is we're not going to see a tie, most likely. I mean, they have to kill two Hawks, or one Hawk rather. It's not going to happen.
Shadow Cartel running guard 2s, by the way. All their support sort of orbiting the Tinker at, 30 or 40k range. The Dominix have actually moved about as far away as they possibly can while still having locks on that team.
My
So
goodness, they really
I'm not
are
even sure
at the edge
if,
of the arena.
like, cruise missiles should be able to hit them, I guess, but they actually have a range advantage because the guards can be positioned between them and the Tinker setup.
Absolutely. Again, I don't know, though. I think if they're going to get in there and kill that Loki, if they do have newts in the high slots, that to me is the way they're going to do it. They're going to cause a disruption to the cap chain, and right now they're not doing it. They're not going to do it from that distance. Like maybe they'll figure that out shortly. Maybe they're MJD fit and they're getting far enough away to MJD right on top of them instead of actually chasing them down. But right now they're not doing much of anything, and it should become clear after not too long that is the case. Stiletto target painted, and it looks like M.I.F. gets another ship. He is off the field, 7 points to their direction. Meanwhile, the Loki is just comfortably tanking away.
You can also see M.I.F. On the shot you had there shooting at some Warrior 2s that are in there, adding a little extra damage to their team. So using those Hawks to just clean off some of those light drones to lower the DPS even more.
Yep. Harpy will be going down here in just a second.
Yeah, Shadow Cartel, it's fine for them to lose frigs, but not, I mean, I feel like you're right. They need to get close. Like, they need to come in, use newts, maybe bring all those Harpies in close enough to add damage, because if they just bleed away drones and support ships, it's going to get harder and harder for them to lock in a kill.
It's gonna. I guess the Loki that close in, that makes sense. You're damping everything else, trying to mitigate damage. But at the end of the day, the Loki is the linchpin of this setup. He is scrammed. I don't know if that's really gonna matter that much.
Wow.
Some NOS on him now. It's probably the Stiletto, actually. Maybe
there's actually Harpies. Is there more than two Harpies?
The other Harpy died, so there's just one Harpy. He's also weapon
They're right
back.
in there on top of the M.I.F. setup. So maybe hoping that a scram. That doesn't really do anything. He should be afterburning anyway, if anything, right?
Absolutely.
So
He's moving 227, which...
They're kind of just throwing away assault frigs here. I mean, maybe they're trying to add the damage. Maybe, like I just said, like use all the damage they have available by getting the Harpies close.
But if you're going to do that, you need to break up the cap chain. And I would assume
you
these
need to get the dummies in there, too.
have some newts. Maybe they don't. I don't know what else they'd be.
Possible.
All
they got to have
drill
something.
controllers.
Smart bombs, newts, or guns, right? Like, they have high slots.
What is it? The drone range control? I forget the name of the...
yeah, I mean, I guess.
Why you'd have like 4 or 5
their
of those.
lock range isn't that high, so they're going to run out of, like...
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's
But
going
they're
on
not
here,
moving close. You can see them here. Like,
Harpies,
they're headed still pointed...
No,
they are pointed
Harpies.
towards them now, but they're not really...
They're not... It doesn't look like they're spooling anything up. I don't know. Could they be? But it's too little too late if they do this, unless they have an awful lot of neuting power. I feel like...
I mean, yeah, it's not too little too late if they have some other trick. If they can get in there and use neutralizers or something.
Well, it also might matter if the target painters were on, say, the Stiletto. stilettos rather than the dummies, then maybe the target painters would have made a difference. But we'll see. I don't.
Yeah.
Not a lot of confidence right now that Shadow Cartel can do
Yeah.
anything to break through this Tinker. In
Yeah.
this case, it was a very successfully deployed Tinker,
Mhm.
and we finally do see someone counter Dominic's. This is people
That's
have been
true.
wondering all the whole time. No Dominic setup has lost anything but another Dominic setup. Here we're seeing for the first time that will be not the case this time.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And yeah, M.I.F making this look really, really strong. We talk a lot about how bringing not the full list of setups is generally not good, but Tinker setups tend to bring less ships. It's hard to keep more alive. You end up with less powerful ships in the core, and then you also end up with more ships you have to just manage logistics on and manage cap for, and it gets really difficult.
And the dummies aren't moving. They're pointing that direction.
Loki's starting to take
zero.
some damage at least again, but it's really not sticking.
Yeah, no, all 4 of the Dominic's holes for Shadow Cartel are.
I really want
still.
all 4 of them to MJD at the same time, right into the center of the.
That would be kind of neat. I don't.
Like kind of unnecessary, but cool.
But why not? They've lost this match. I mean, they have 0 points. They can't break anything from where they're at. The cap chain is going to infinitely create cap out of thin air, so they're not running out of cap unless you get some cap pressure on them.
Another thing I've been curious about. I should definitely know this, but how does guard DPS compare to ogre DPS?
That's a good question. I'm pretty sure ogres have slightly higher DPS.
I've been surprised that in this situation, Dommy teams are not willing to go close and drop close range drones. There's not really any costs. Like the rattlesnakes could have smart bombs, but it's going to take them forever to kill those off. Ooh, Hawk going really low. They target switched.
Volley. Oh, here comes the reps. Yeah, that's the thing. The Loki may have gotten complacent, not having to do a whole lot of work. But
if they can get that much damage on a Hawk with one switch, they might not be out of this. I mean, if they can.
Yep, they're going for the other one now to see if they can switch up the reps while the reps are cycling. Nope, he's not used all his reps. I think with the Loki setup with this configuration, he's going to have a lot of high slots for a lot of reps. You don't need many to keep a Hawk up if he's got good resists, and that's the case right here. He's got enough for the 2.
Yeah.
The only 2 probably vulnerable ships on the M.I.F team are those Hawks.
Smallest about to go down for Shadow Cartel.
Yep.
Leaving only their core ships. So they have 3.5 minutes to figure out how to get a kill here. So far, it does not look good for them.
No, it certainly doesn't. They're not going to volley through a Vulture for sure. Vulture is probably the hardest target on the field. Rattlesnake's a close second to that in terms of buffer, in terms of getting through the with the reps. The Loki by itself, you're just there. I mean, you really have to volley one of these ships down. They tank an amazing and enormous, really shocking amount of DPS, especially with Vulture links, because they can run that ASB with all the remote transfers, and they just permanently run the ASB. So all day long he can just tank. And yeah, the only thing you really can do with a Tinker is either cap it the whole chain out so you can break through the logistics, or simply volley something off the field. And they almost were able to do it on those Hawks, but it was not quite enough.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the way they get into this. The problem for them is even if they can target switch their way into volleying down some Hawks, it doesn't get them enough points to win the match.
Right.
So
it doesn't break up the Tinker. It doesn't cost any of the cap
Yeah,
transfer,
exactly.
so.
It doesn't cause anything to really collapse. So they have to find a way to bring that Loki down, I think. And they're still not making any big adjustments. I mean, they're still sitting super far away. They're still running the same guard 2s. Nothing different. And if they don't do something different, I don't think it's going to happen. They definitely are putting damage on the Loki. He keeps dropping to 20 or 30% shields, but
I mean, they're just banging their heads against brick wall.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
It's never going to go through.
I feel like this is... Ooh, he went down pretty low there for a second. I don't know.
Getting volleys, I don't know if they're trying to coordinate
one thing that also comes up, it shouldn't be an issue, but as Shadu was saying yesterday, the Tinker setups, because we limit them to just 1 cap transfer per ship, actually don't generate tons of cap with the cap transfers. True. They rely on cap boosters, so it's possible that at least after some duration of having to run cap boosters, the team would start to be under cap pressure just from damage.
But within a 10-minute window,
yeah,
that's really not the case. I know we've seen in SCL, they were able to go up to 15 minutes and still run that, and I think we did have the same rule on the 1 energy transfer. So, they have enough cap boosters to get through the match. The only time that really might start coming into play is if we get into the reverse tie-dye. Then it becomes nearly impossible to keep up with the Tinker setup, and that's why that's just a great tie-breaking rule. If we come up with dual Tinker, it comes down to who manages better. Looks like they're finally able to apply some damage to one of those dummies. Meanwhile, the Loki's just doing his thing.
Yeah, they moved a little closer, I guess. So some of those, there's a bunch of cargo containers on the field for
passing cap boosters around.
Yes, yeah, maybe so. Maybe some ships using more than others.
Maybe
bringing extra in the cargo on the Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dropping that for the rattlesnakes. Seems like they've really thought their way through the setup. It looks like not the most exciting way to do things, but they've clearly thought it through. They've executed really well, and they've shown that Dominixes are not invincible, that there's definitely a way to deal with them.
Well, the thing with M.I.F is they're pretty safe. Even they're dropping cargo containers. Let's say Shadow Cartel catches it fast enough to actually kill those cargo containers off before they get looted. Even if they run out of cap right now, it's just too late. They might volley down the Loki in 20
with 30
seconds. They're not getting
seconds,
through anything else.
it's
Even with a minute.
not gonna happen.
The Vulture's going to take at least a minute by itself. The Rattlesnake's probably going to take a while. They have ASBs. They can just load up and tank. I mean, yeah, this was just a poor. I mean, I don't want to say a poor showing from Shadow Cartel, but maybe underthought.
It's funny because we talk about Dominix as being invincible, but Shadow Cartel beat Dominixes with this exact setup yesterday. So they're fine with the Domi duel. It's probably why they don't ban them. And they paid for it by getting beat by a setup that is just fine with Domi.
Well,
so
congratulations to M.I.F.
Yeah, good job.
Moving on. And, well, good fight to Shadow Cartel, but did not take this one. So we'll head back to the studio with CCP Soundwave and the other guys.